And we're happy to answer if any questions you have. So thank you.
So I hope, good evening. Can everybody hear me okay? I hope you got all the handouts over on the table. It includes the pie graph of how the budget is portioned out. You have enrollment updates from the October 1st count. You have the budget, warrant articles, retirement rates, SAU summary of services, medical rates, etc. So I will be referring to page 11 of the operating budget to start, which is this packet right here, page 11. And we'll review with you just the operations of the building. Appropriations are up 3.3% in appropriations. And I'll just kind of go through this list and what has changed. So the 1100 account is the bulk of the budget, which is your regular education. That is up $95,561, although that reflects the reduction of one classroom teacher. The increase is due to a number of areas, including the portions of the collective bargaining agreement, including retirement, salaries, all the additional benefits that go with that, even though that's down one. 1200, the special education. So as you know, this is a moving target in many districts at this point. And on the revenue side that you'll see, the state has not funded us at what they're committed to, and that's been for several years. For the past 10 years, they've really, we've been able to recoup about 60% of special education aid. That's, I think, going to go down even more for next year. So included in special education is not only students with disabilities, but it also includes your obligations for students outside of this district in regards to foster care, charter schools, homeless, and other special services around that piece. So the main reason that is up $260,545 is there are going to be 6 special education teachers with 1 student services administrator. There's also 20 paraprofessionals, and that's per students with IEPs. And then the out-of-district costs have gone up. So that's any student that may be in a behavioral program, a medical hospital, where we're required to provide the services. So that is a substantial increase for the Plymouth budget this year. Other big pieces is, and you'll see a lot of these lines are reflective of IEPs as well. So 1410 is not, that's co-curricular, so that's down $4,119. Preschool program, so that is your regular ed preschool program. That includes a regular education teacher, a special education teacher, and 2 paraprofessionals. That services ages 3 through 5. On the revenue side, you'll see any tuition that's collected because some of those students that may attend there. Guidance and assessment services is just up for the CBA. Same with health services. We do contract out with Spear Memorial Hospital for the nursing services. They provide substitutes, professional development, and the oversight of all nursing services in Plymouth Elementary School. The 2140 account, which is psychological services, that includes any student that may require counseling or within their IEP or testing. Again, connected to individual education programs for students with disabilities. Again, that's the same thing for the 2150 account. Speech services is all tied to students with disabilities. And again, that's just reflective of the caseload. It happens to be down $45,976 for next year. OTPT, that's occupational therapy, physical therapy. That is up based on IEP services. The 2210 account, improvement of instruction, that's professional development for staff, which may include workshops, course reimbursement, etc. Library services, so that includes your library media center and any staff included in that piece, and that's a small increase based on the CBA. a collective bargaining agreement. School board services, so that's any cost that has to do with operating the school board or positions within that, including supplies. SAU services is down $842. Your SAU services portion is 50% based on your ADM, 50% based on your equalized valuation for the town of Plymouth. 2330 account is your tech coordinator. Again, that reflects your support within the technology, and the increase is due to cost of living raise. Same with the principal's office. Financial accounting, we don't really use that line anymore, so it's at $1. Operating building services, so this is all your repairs, maintenance, and custodial staff. That is up mainly because of salaries, and repairs and maintenance has gone up a ton this past year to operate the school building. Transportation, you will see, is up $130,169. That reflects a new busing contract SAU-wide. It's a 5-year contract. We were based on some old costs based on the previous Robertson's Transit years ago. So we were finally up to negotiate. We negotiate as an entire SAU. We received 2 bids. One was substantially higher than this one, so although it's more expensive, it was the cheaper of the 2. So that's contracted out with Durham Bus Services. In that transportation line also includes special education transportation, field trips, and athletics. And then special education, again, is not just special education transport. It includes the requirement for us to provide transportation for homeless students, foster care students, or any students placed out of district for day placement. Let's see. Food service. There's no increase. Building improvement services. So you'll see that the school board now uses warrant articles to fund the capital reserve. So we can pull from that instead of taking instead of raising additional taxes. So that's at 1 right now. Debt service, that's for your energy project that you did a few years ago, transferring to propane. Capital reserve fund, so that's at 0. That's a warrant article that gets put in every year. That's voted on by the voters, so it's 0 now. If it gets voted in, it will be added in later. Overall health insurance is down $14,311. Dental insurance is down $1,462. That just reflects the folks on the plans and the different plans that are offered here. So the total, grand total increase is $357,852. On the next page is all the revenues, so that was just the appropriations. And you'll see the unreserved fund balance from last year was $120,106. The estimate is 0 this year. Catastrophic aid, which is the special ed aid that we've received in the past. We do not have any students at this point that qualify for that. So that is at 0 again. Adequate education grant, which is your adequacy. Many towns have gone down in adequacy. Plymouth has gone up a little bit, and that's just based on a very complicated formula by the state at this time. There's several legislative bills that are addressing what an adequate education is for public ed as well. So that's what it is for now. Revenue from federal sources, National Forest Reserve, $2,500 is the estimate. Medicaid is we can get reimbursed for any student that is Medicaid eligible for services like speech, paraprofessional, occupational therapy, physical therapy, etc. Regular ed tuition LEAs, so that's what we're looking at for students that are coming into, that are being tuitioned into Plymouth Elementary School. Special ed tuition, so that typically there are some behavioral programs. We're expecting that, and we have a few students from out of district that attend Plymouth Elementary School, so that's approximately $70,000. Preschool assist, LEA tuition, so that's the preschool, other districts paying into the preschool services that Plymouth provides. So that's coming back into the district for ages 3 to 5 students with disabilities. PEP tuition, which is the preschool students' tuition that are paying to come into Plymouth Elementary School just for preschool. Reimbursement services, so bilingual, that's in there as a zero. In the past year, there's been a significant increase in students with English language learners. And so the Plymouth Elementary has consumed the cost of that person, where we were able to share that person in the past, but that caseload has gone up significantly, so that's all under Plymouth now. Voted from fund balance last year is $50,000. That may be reflected this next year too, depending on the vote from the district meeting. Transfer from capital reserve fund, that was in there as $104,000 last year. The school district will be looking at a withdrawal to get some of the projects completed for the facilities this summer, so that may go back into the right side. Federal fund revenue, this is what we have right now. I know there's been a lot in the news regarding federal funds and how they're going to be dispersed to public schools, but at this time we're remaining consistent that we do expect $120,000 allocation for special education, which is the IDEA grant that we get from federal funds, and then the Title I reimbursement, which is $80,000, which is low socioeconomic and reading intervention or math intervention can be used with those funds. The revenue from the hot lunch program expected to be higher at $231,416. You'll see your total school revenue and credits, which is on the right, your district appropriation, which is the budget I just reviewed on the previous page on the right-hand column. Then you see your change in district assessment, your estimated increase, and then your dollar change in net assessed valuation per 1,000. Some of those numbers will change based on the warrant articles that will be voted in as well. So that is it. As far as warrant articles, so your next packet looks like this. There are no collective bargaining agreements to be voted on this year for support staff or teaching staff. Next year is the last year of the teacher's contract, so that will be up for the following year. Article 1 is the same as usual, reports of agents, auditors, committees, or officer. Article 2, building repairs from capital reserve fund. So again, the board a few years ago has built up a capital reserve to deal with any facilities projects. So this year we'll be looking at pulling $90,000 for replacing the gymnasium doors and the VRF components of the science lab HVAC system for that piece. Article 3, the fund balance to capital reserve. If there's funds left over at the end of the year, $50,000, we'll replenish that capital reserve fund so we can look to do projects that way again in the future. And lastly is your operating budget that I just went over with the appropriation as we reviewed. That is it.
Good. Great. Thank you. We'll open it up to questions.
Hi, I'm Kat. So now that we know there's a resignation of a full-time educator at the conclusion of this school year, does the board still plan to reduce the staff by one full-time educator?
It will not hit anybody in the building, given that opening.
Thank you.
No further questions, so we just need a motion to
Move the budget
move the
forward.
budget forward to the district.
So
meeting.
moved.
Seconded?
All in favor of moving the budget? Aye.
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 Thank you.
Can I have all of you sign?